Detective Sarah Chen had seen her share of missing persons cases, but the Hartwell family disappearance kept her awake at night. Three months had passed since Robert, Maria, and their twin daughters vanished from their suburban home, leaving behind only questions and a cold cup of coffee on the kitchen counter. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source: a demolition crew working on an abandoned warehouse across town. Wedged between two rotting floorboards, they'd found a manila envelope containing dozens of photographs. The construction foreman, recognizing the faces from the news, had called the police immediately. Sarah spread the photos across her desk under the harsh fluorescent lights. The images were haunting, not because of what they showed, but because of when they were taken. Each photograph bore a date stamp, and every single one was from after the family had disappeared. The first photo, dated 3 days after they went missing, showed Robert sitting alone in what appeared to be a diner booth. His eyes were hollow, staring directly at the camera with an expression Sarah couldn't quite read. Resignation? Fear? Relief? Another, taken a week later, captured Maria walking through a crowded street market, her distinctive red coat unmistakable even in the grainy image. She was carrying a paper bag and looking over her shoulder. As if sensing she was being watched, the twins appeared in several photos together, playing in an unfamiliar park, sharing ice cream outside a small-town drugstore, sleeping in the back seat of an old sedan. They looked thin but unharmed, and in one image, Emma was even smiling at something beyond the camera's frame. Sarah's partner, Detective Martinez, leaned over her shoulder. "Who took these? And why leave them to be found?" That was the question that gnawed at Sarah. The photographer had remained consistently distant, using what appeared to be a telephoto lens. The angles suggested surveillance, but the careful composition and lighting spoke of someone with artistic training. More disturbing still, the photos spanned 2 months. Someone had been tracking this family's movements, long after they'd supposedly vanished. "Look at this one." Martinez pointed to a photo near the bottom of the pile. It showed all 4 family members together, sitting around a campfire. Robert was teaching the girls how to roast marshmallows while Maria laughed at something one of them had said. They looked happy, not like people running for their lives or being held against their will. Sarah noticed something else. In every photo, none of the family members appeared to be looking for the camera or seemed aware they were being photographed. Yet there was something staged about their positioning, as if they knew exactly where to be and when. The final photograph stopped Sarah's breath entirely. It was taken just 2 weeks ago, showing the family standing together at what looked like a bus station. Each of them held a small suitcase, and they were looking directly into the camera lens. Robert was holding a handwritten sign that simply read, "Thank you for letting us go." Sarah's hands trembled as she turned the photo over. Written in careful block letters was an address she didn't recognize, followed by a single line: "Sometimes disappearing is the only way to be found." The next morning, Sarah and Martinez drove to the address, a small cabin, 2 hours outside the city. They found it empty but lived in. Children's drawings covered the refrigerator, and there were 4 coffee mugs in the sink. On the kitchen table sat another envelope, this one addressed to Detective Chen. Inside was a single photograph: the Hartwell family standing in front of the cabin, waving goodbye. But this time, Sarah could see who had taken all the photos. Reflected in the cabin's window was a figure she recognized from the missing persons database: Maria's brother Daniel, who had disappeared himself 15 years earlier during a bitter custody dispute. The accompanying letter was brief. "Some families break apart. Others find new ways to stay together. The man they were running from can't hurt them where they've gone. Please don't look for us. We're not missing anymore." Sarah stared at the photos scattered across her desk, understanding finally that not all missing persons cases were meant to be solved. Sometimes people disappeared not because something terrible had happened to them, but because something terrible was about to happen, and disappearing was their only escape. She filed the case as cold, but kept one photo on her desk, the one of the family by the campfire, laughing together in the firelight. It reminded her that sometimes the most successful missing persons cases were the ones where people stayed missing, safely hidden in plain sight, photographed by someone who loved them enough to document their freedom. The Hartwell family was never found, and Sarah never looked for them again. But every few months, she would receive an envelope with no return address, containing a single photograph of 4 people living quietly, peacefully, and completely disappeared from the world that had tried to tear them apart.